They say the town of Viridia used to be a paradise. Nestled in a valley, it was a place of perpetual spring. The sun always seemed to shine just right. The rains came only when needed, and the harvests were always bountiful. Tourists flocked there, calling it the sun-kissed valley, and the townsfolk grew prosperous and content. But that was before Alara. It started subtly. A late frost in spring nipped the apple blossoms. A summer drought stretched on for weeks, cracking the earth and withering the corn. Then came the storms. Hailstones the size of fists that shattered windows and tore through roofs, followed by relentless, flooding rains that washed away topsoil and turned the vibrant green valley into a muddy brown bog. The tourists stopped coming. The crops failed. Desperation began to creep into Viridia like a chilling fog. The town elders held meeting after meeting, their faces etched with worry. They prayed. They consulted almanacs. They even brought in meteorologists from the city, but no one could explain the sudden, catastrophic shift in the weather. It was as if the sky itself had declared war on their small town. Viridia was dying, and its people were helpless. One evening, as a particularly violent thunderstorm raged outside, a stranger walked into the town hall. She was a woman unlike any they had ever seen. Her hair was the color of a storm cloud, her eyes a startling, electric blue, and she moved with an unnerving silence that seemed to command the very air around her. The wind howled, but she was untouched by it, her simple dress perfectly dry. She introduced herself as Alara. "I can help you," she said, her voice calm but carrying an authority that silenced the room. "I can give you back your sunshine, your gentle rains, your perfect seasons." The elders stared, a mix of hope and suspicion on their faces. The mayor, a pragmatic man named Thomas, was the first to speak. "And what is your price, Miss Alara?" "Nothing is free." Alara smiled, a slow, knowing smile that didn't quite reach her electric blue eyes. "My price is simple. I will give you 7 years of perfect weather. 7 years of prosperity, better than you ever had before. In return, at the end of those 7 years, you will give me a memory." "A memory?" A collective murmur went through the room. "What kind of memory?" someone asked from the back. "The town's most cherished memory," Alara replied, her gaze sweeping across their faces. "Just one. A small price for a paradise regained, wouldn't you agree?" It sounded too good to be true. A single memory in exchange for salvation. They debated for hours after she left, her proposal hanging in the air. Was she a charlatan, a madwoman, or something else entirely? But as the storm outside raged on, breaking another ancient oak tree in the town square, their desperation won out over their doubt. They had nothing left to lose. The next day, Mayor Thomas found Alara by the river and accepted her offer. The moment he shook her hand, the storm clouds parted. A single, brilliant ray of sunshine broke through, illuminating the valley. And just like that, the perfect weather returned. The next 7 years were more glorious than anyone in Viridia could have imagined. The sun was warm but never scorching. The rains were gentle and timely. The harvests were so abundant they had to build new silos. Tourists returned in droves, and the town's coffers overflowed. The people of Viridia became happy and carefree, the memory of the dark times fading like a bad dream. They celebrated festivals with more vigor than ever before, creating new, joyful memories. Alara was a quiet presence in town, living in a small cottage by the woods, rarely speaking to anyone but always watching. Her price, a single memory, seemed like an absurdly small payment for the heaven she had delivered. As the 7th year drew to a close, a sense of unease began to settle over the town. What was their most cherished memory? How could a town even have one? They started talking amongst themselves, reminiscing. Was it the founding of the town? The legendary Founders' Day Festival of 48? The day the community rallied together to build the new schoolhouse after the old one burned down? Each person had a different idea, a different story they held dear. The final day arrived. The sky was a perfect, cloudless blue. Alara appeared in the town square, looking exactly as she had 7 years prior. The entire town gathered, waiting. "It is time," she said, her voice echoing in the silent square. "You have had your paradise. Now, I will have my payment." Mayor Thomas stepped forward, his face pale. "We have decided," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Our most cherished memory is the Centennial Festival 50 years ago. It was a time of great unity and joy for everyone." Alara shook her head slowly. "You don't get to choose," she said softly. "I do." She closed her eyes. A strange, shimmering haze began to rise from the ground, enveloping the crowd. It wasn't threatening, but it felt ancient. People looked at each other in confusion. Then, a collective gasp rippled through the square. On the face of the town hall, shimmering images began to appear like an old film projection. They saw images of themselves, but from the dark times. They saw neighbors sharing their last scraps of food during the drought. They saw strangers working side by side in the pouring rain, trying to build a levee to save their homes from the flood. They saw the entire town gathered in the candlelight of the town hall, comforting children who were afraid of the storm. They saw the exhausted but determined faces of volunteers sandbagging the riverbank, singing old songs to keep their spirits up. It was the memory of their hardship, of their struggle, of the way they had come together not in celebration, but in desperation. The memory of their resilience. A young woman in the crowd cried out, "My father, he's helping Mrs. Gable board up her windows." An old man whispered, "I remember that. I'd forgotten. We all worked for 3 days straight without sleep." They weren't memories of joy, but of profound connection, of a community forged in the fires of adversity. It was raw, it was painful, but it was undeniably their most powerful, most cherished memory. The memory of who they were when they had nothing else. Alara opened her eyes, and the images faded. "That," she said, her voice filled with a strange, melancholic hunger, "is the one I will take." She raised her hand, and the shimmering haze coalesced, flowing from the crowd towards her. It was a strange sensation, not painful, but empty. A sudden, hollow feeling settled in everyone's hearts. They looked at each other, and for the first time in 7 years, they saw strangers. The easy familiarity was gone. They remembered the facts of the dark times, the drought, the floods. But the feeling, the shared experience, the bond it had created, was gone. It was like looking at a photograph of a loved one you no longer recognize. As Alara turned to leave, the perfect blue sky above them began to cloud over. A cold wind whipped through the square. "Weather is easy," she said, her voice barely a whisper against the rising wind. "Sunshine, rain, they are simple things. But what holds a community together through the storm? That is a much rarer, much more precious magic. You sold it for a little comfort. I hope it was worth it." And with that, she was gone. A drop of rain hit Mayor Thomas's cheek, then another and another. The sky opened up, and a cold, miserable rain began to fall. The people of Viridia stood there, scattered and alone, strangers in their own home, as the storm they had traded everything to escape returned. They had their town, their fields, their houses, but they had lost the one thing that truly made Viridia a home. They had lost their story, and they now faced the storm not as a united community, but as a collection of individuals, each left to wonder what it was they had forgotten. The story of Viridia serves as a powerful cautionary tale. It reminds us that the easy path isn't always the right one. The things that truly define us, both as and as communities, are often forged in hardship. Our struggles, our resilience, and the bonds we form when facing challenges together are the most valuable treasures we possess. It's a reminder to cherish not just the sunny days, but the storms that teach us how to stand together. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that make you think. See you on the next one.